I mentioned in a recent video on my channel that Forestry Land Scotland, formerly the Forestry Commission, had come up with a forward-looking scheme to allow camper vans to use some of their car parks for overnight use. Sadly, I have to report that following complaints to them by a number of commercial campsite operators, the scheme has been abandoned after less than a month. FNLS say they'll continue the scheme until the end of August and may look at it again in the future. It appears the campsite operators complained that FNLS didn't have proper planning permission to create campsites. Now, the fact of the matter is no campsites were being created, so there's no need for change of use planning permission. The scheme was for camper vans that had their own toilet and wash facilities, and you were only allowed to stay for one night at a time. No facilities were provided other than a parking place, so what's the difference between that and cars parking in these places during the day? In addition, FNLS have been using some of their car parks as overnight stops in the Loch Lomond and Trossachs National Park for over 4 years, and no planning permission appeared to be necessary there. There appears to be far too many operators who are bringing a narrow commercial perspective to the issue, exploiting the situation for their own financial advantage. And this includes existing campsite owners who do not want competition and private landowners who do not want to release land for camper van provision. All this despite the fact that Scottish campsites are full to the gunnels at the moment. I've just spent an afternoon trying to book a couple of nights in a campsite for this coming weekend. Every campsite I contacted is full until the end of the month, and some beyond that, well into September. The FNLS scheme was created to help out during these busy times and take some of the pressure off areas where campsites haven't opened this summer due to COVID-19. Despite the early success of the scheme, and I believe FNLS received hundreds of positive comments from delighted campervanners, the FNLS bosses very easily caved in, saying that the hospitality sector was struggling this year and they didn't want to do anything that would compete with it. I think that's utter bollocks. The truth of the matter is that Scotland is jam-packed with tourists of all kinds at the moment, tourists who can't find any accommodation at all. Some hotels are charging astronomical prices, and most campsites, despite offering absolutely no facilities other than a parking place, have not thought of lowering their prices. I was quoted recently £42 a night for a small camper van with 2 people in a campsite where there were no toilets or showers available. Needless to say, I didn't book and opted for a night in a lay-by. The FNLS scheme was a shining light at a terrible time for campervanners. Not only have we been wrongly lumped in with the dirty tent camper by the media, but now campsite operators are ganging together to stop us overnighting in areas owned by the tax-paying public, people like you and me. If you share my concerns, you might consider writing to Forestry Land Scotland and to Scotland's Tourism Minister, Fergus Ewing. I'll put the addresses above the comments down below here. If enough of us complain and make a real noise about this, I believe we can overturn this decision. If we don't, then these same commercial self-interest groups will oppose any future plans to create a sensible and necessary infrastructure of low-cost, no-frills overnight parking areas for camper vans in Scotland. Finally, I should point out that there are many campsite operators who are decent, hard-working people who are well aware that some of us like to camp overnight in places other than official campsites. But like the dirty campers who have let down all those of us who behave responsibly in the countryside, it would appear the campsite operator community has its own share of bad apples. I don't know who the complainers are, but if I find out, I certainly won't be very keen to give them my business in the future. Please get involved and write and complain to the people below. Thank you very much.